Time's up.
Thank you, Mr. Hu.
我就在想，我要是他妈妈，我得多骄傲。
这个带入的视角也是有点清奇，也是很奇怪。
我在想我儿子这样子是什么样子。
你会哦，天哪！
是。
Now we come to the counsel for the defendants to make their submissions, please.
May it please the tribunal. My name is Henry Lee, and I'm counsel for the defendant along with Sonny Young, who will also be appearing for the defendant. My lords, the defendant asks the tribunal to dismiss the plaintiff's respective claims for the following reasons. It is my respectful submission that the plaintiff's respective claims of propriety claim and restitution are tainted with illegality. And the starting point of both claims lies upon the subject matter in question, and that is the alleged $500,000. I wish to draw your lordship's attention particularly to the source of the disputed sum, and it is rather apparent that the disputed sum served as payment of a capital gain tax resulting from the plaintiff's participation in a so-called investment scheme with a man who she later realized was actually a fraudster. But in short, the so-called investment scheme will fall under lotteries. So I wish to draw your lordship's attention particularly to Lord Tolson's formulation here as regard to the relevance of illegality to a... And Lord Tolson actually sets out three different considerations which he... And the first being underlying purpose of the prohibition and whether it will be enhanced by the denial of the claim. And here, in this case, the underlying purpose for prohibiting illegal gambling is obviously the deterrence for criminal activities and often associated with illegal gambling. And as to the second consideration as to whether there are any countervailing public policies, the only countervailing policy here is that denying the claims would deprive true victims of fraud from recouping their property.
香港分所总比中国还要更好一点，无论是松弛感也好，还是打不死的老爹。
However, if the court were to allow these such claims, it would defeat other important public policies.
Mr. Lee, I think I can understand your submission if this is genuine gambling website.
Yes, my lord.
But according to the plaintiff, they say the website was created to defraud the plaintiff. It was not a genuine gambling site because there was actually no chance for the plaintiff. How are you going to answer that?
好问题，这正是 Kim 他们之前准备的时候的一个。
那个650万，你们是算了他从100万的资金投资涨到了600万吗？
在系统里那个显示他投了100万，涨到了600万。
但那个系统是个欺诈的，就是他设计了一个圈套而已。
黄凯，真细节。
The online investment scheme does not constitute gambling. In our case, the website is not a real gambling website. The fraudsters could control the process.
The defendants will submit accordingly that this was not a simple case of defrauding the plaintiff. The plaintiff was not simply being defrauded. That the interface of the website is not one which is conventional to a normal-looking investment website. As an investor, awareness or duty to at least make inquiries as to whether the website is a true investment website or is it just... And so we will accordingly submit that it was the plaintiff who continued, despite seeing this abnormality, to continue in this investment scheme, seeing that she has the potential to win a lot of money through the scheme. Investment website, and it was hence the plaintiff who chose to continue in participating in the scheme without making relevant inquiries.
Go into the details that your skeleton is particularly brief on that. You say it's a breach of Section 8 and Section 10.
That's right, yes.
Why is it a breach of Section 8 and Section 10 of the Gambling Ordinance?
My lord, that would depend on whether the so-called alleged investment scheme falls under gaming, and if it is found to be gaming,
Why is that a gaming?
漂亮，痛点。
I just asked you to tell us why Section 8 is satisfied in our case.
投资也好，诈骗也好，它都不是赌博呀。
In this case, betting would involve the betting in participation in a game and investing money into a game as defined. In that case, Section 10 would be the relevant section. As we contend, the scheme falls under...
So do you still pursue Section 8? I'm trying to follow your argument. You say it's Section 8 bites, and Section 8 requires any person who bets with a bookmaker, and you refer to him or gaming is not in the definition of Section 8?
Yes, I agree with my lord that gaming does not seem to appear in Section 8, which...
So you are now moving on to Section 10?
Well, we would rely on Section 10 instead.
What about Section 8?
你还要不要？
我们跳到10，那你的8怎么办
？15 minutes。
他的那个陈词和这个事实的差距有一点点远。我如果是在他的那个位置上，我见到这样的情况，我是会直接放弃那个问题的。
放弃啊，放弃。
Right. I think in this case, the important section is under Section 2 of the ordinance, which I've unfortunately did not. I don't think I included in the bundle, but that lotteries is defined as any competition for money or other property in which involves this sort of guessing of the future events, which that would explain why the present investment scheme would fall under a lotteries and would then differentiate itself from the buying of stocks.
Is it applicable here? I'm talking about we are in Hong Kong. Patel Mercer obviously is a UK Supreme Court case post 1997. I'm asking, is it applicable here?
啊，真的，你根本无处可逃。现在他是想花巧，想溜，想抹过去。
My lord, the Court of Appeal in Hong Kong has recently adopted the approach used in Patel Mercer, and this is in the case of excuse me.
撤赢的做法就是讲不下去的时候放弃这个，赶紧上下一个。他就是现在还在
硬刚。
Can you just wrap up the arguments on the proprietary claim, especially we know the position of the plaintiff already, and then we'll listen about the unjust enrichment part.
The defendant submitted there was purchase of value as the transaction between the defendant and the fraudster was that the defendant would pay the bail money for the fraudster, and in return, the fraudster will compensate. The plaintiff had no notice of any fraud or knowledge of the plaintiff's.
Even though the defendant knew very well that the money came from a Chan man's account, right? Not the Chan Ho's account. And that there is no dispute that the money from that account that came from or originated from the plaintiff.
As to the point on whether the difference in account name matters, our submission is that the similarity of these two account names would.
So this is the objective test, the reasonable man's test. How about the defendant herself, the subjective test?
Right. We would submit that in the defendant's position. And speaking at the time where she received the disputed sum out of the blue, it is submitted that this disputed sum, although unexpected,
5 minutes.
他已经不行了。
他应该赶紧弄完，让另外一个人起立了。
Okay. Unless I can be a part of this.
李同学后面问了以后，他有点急了啊，这个是一个错误的。
Sorry, the disputed sum of the $500,000 would not be totally unreasonable since she demanded it, but it will not be to the extent that she would return the money to the fraudster, or she would keep the money to herself and not help her husband in such an urgent situation.
What about the issue of unjust enrichment?
I can address that too.
No, you don't have time.
他纠结在那一点太长时间了。
李同学他借用的时间太多了。
三你也懵了。 没想到他讲这么久。
他时间有限，所以他要压缩，他就要取舍。
May it please the tribunal, my name is Sunny Young. I will focus on one of the section on the defense of change of position, which is whether it is inequitable for the defendant to make restitution to the plaintiff. As the plaintiff has helpfully stated in the argument that in the case of Lipkin Goldman, Lord Goff ruled that the mere fact that the defendant has spent the money in